What's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video. I hope you guys are doing well. The New York Knicks just came out victorious at Madison Square Garden. We haven't played in Madison Square Garden in like such a long time because of that long road trip. Playing the Clippers, playing the Nuggets, playing the LA Lakers, playing the Phoenix Suns, playing the Grizzlies, playing all these teams on the road. And it was definitely a really stressful road trip when you just think about it, having to come out with these victories for us to still be in the playoffs, really not be in that play-in, but we of course clinched the playoffs due to the Celtics losing to the Cleveland Cavaliers, which was huge. Of course, we would have liked to beat the Lakers, but we just took care of business tonight, which was absolutely huge. Of course, we actually do need the Miami Heat to lose up against the Milwaukee Bucks, which would be just amazing. Because we know the Hawks, they're not going to go on to lose. They're going to play, like, I believe, lottery, upcoming, like, top five, like, potential lottery picks when it comes to finishing off this schedule. Of course, they just played the Orlando Magic tonight, which definitely wasn't good. We would have liked to see them lose, but at the end of the day, we can only control our own destiny, and that is to beat the San Antonio Spurs. So starting off in this basketball game, it was definitely sad. Of course, we had quickly come back. We had a guy of Alec Burks come back as well from these injuries, which was amazing because it definitely brings us depth, and I thought they came back at the perfect time because we need to bounce back from that Los Angeles Lakers game. But sadly, Derrick Rose goes down with an ankle injury. He was upgraded from questionable to probable, but in my opinion, I think we just didn't play him because we didn't want to make his injury worse, which I thought was smart. Of course, he does have this history of getting injured. So yes, we were definitely missing that spark off the bench, and I was really concerned. I was like, is Quickly going to be rusty, shoot us out of the game? Is Alec Burks going to be rusty? But starting off, let's just say it wasn't the prettiest game offensively on any side of the ball. Yes, the Spurs were shooting absolutely terrible. At one point, they were shooting like 10%. They were shooting bricks left and right. They couldn't hit the rim. The Knicks, of course, they were making like a solid amount of shots. They weren't really shooting it that well. The only reason it didn't seem like we were shooting it that bad is because the Spurs were shooting it that bad. And you guys are probably wondering, were the Knicks up a lot of points because the San Antonio Spurs weren't shooting the basketball well? No, we weren't up a lot of points whatsoever because Greg Popovich preaches all sides of the basketball. Rebounding, defense, shooting the ball, just ball movement, just like literally everything. When their offense isn't getting going, they literally bring everything else to their basketball club. If that's Keldon Johnson on that squad, if it's Devin Vassell, if it's Lonnie Walker, if it's DeJounte Murray, they're just really good at moving the basketball even as a young team because Greg Popovich just preaches excellence and he's a no-nonsense type of coach. But yes, both of these teams weren't really getting it going offensively. The Knicks weren't even shooting it well from downtown. But Julius Randle definitely had an encouraging start, shooting the basketball very well. But I'll tell you right now, you know who did not have a good first quarter? That is RJ Barrett, as RJ Barrett actually just came off of a horrible game up against the Los Angeles Lakers. You really wanted him to bounce back tonight. If you did not know, he actually made his NBA debut versus the San Antonio Spurs, and he actually played really well. It was interesting. He actually played on point guard David Fizdale. What the heck was he doing? But yeah, we really wanted RJ Barrett to have a big game tonight. We definitely needed him, especially because we didn't know how the bench was going to produce. We didn't know how Reggie Bullock was going to play. He was actually questionable as well. So this was huge for RJ Barrett. It was a big-time game. We needed him to step up alongside Julius Randle. We needed a team effort overall. But I actually thought Nerlens Noel did a really good job really making his presence felt defensively. He did a good job positioning himself down low to actually get some early buckets. So you could say he definitely opened up like some momentum for the Knicks. I just thought RJ Barrett did not let the game come to him whatsoever. If I'm being completely real with you, he was actually forcing shots at the beginning. It just seems like he always wants that first shot to go in so quickly that sometimes he forces it. But when he doesn't let the game come to him, he's an amazing player. I actually tweeted out on Twitter, I was like, because RJ Barrett fans, of course I'm an RJ fan, but some people, they don't even act like Knicks fans. They just act like straight RJ Barrett fans, and you're not allowed to criticize them. When a player is playing bad, like having a bad game, you're allowed to criticize that player at the end of the day. They're not going to be perfect. It's okay to have some criticism. Doesn't mean you hate the player. It just means they got to do better. And I just wanted to really express my emotions. But yeah, RJ Barrett wasn't using the backboard when driving to the basket. He was just erratic, to be completely real with you guys. Now, when it comes to the second quarter, it still remained to be a close game, but I actually liked what the second unit brought to the table. If it was the ball movement, if it was the defense, like both of these teams weren't really scoring the ball, but I thought the Knicks did a good enough job defensively, and for the defense to lead to the offense, we actually went on a 9-0 run, which was actually very nice to see. Of course, getting buckets in transition, knocking down some timely shots, and I thought we did really good on the defense side of the basketball. Obi Toppin, his stats didn't really show up in this game, but I thought he did a good job positioning himself, and I thought he did a good job knowing where to be out there on the court. And Taj Gibson, he does a lot of things that don't show up on the stat sheet. Just communicating, knowing where to be out there on the court. He's played out of position the last few years, or last couple years, in a New York Knicks uniform, playing the center position when he's played the power forward position in the past. But his ability to front guys, rebound the basketball, just box out, communicate, play tough. He's a no-nonsense player, and that equals winning ball. He just does such a great job communicating with the young players, or even the veterans out there, such as a Reggie Bullock, such as a Alec Burks, and even more. We definitely did miss Derrick Rose when it came to his spark off the bench in that second quarter, because when Alec Burks came in the game, he was frustrating me. At the beginning of the game, he was taking shots off of one leg. Emmanuel quickly sailed a pass out of bounds. His shots weren't going in. I was really afraid these guys were going to shoot us out of the game because they were really rusty. Of course, I'm going to give Quickly and Burks the benefit of the doubt. They have been out, so they still have to get adjusted. Anyone's going to be rusty when you're out a few games. You're playing up against the best players in the world at like a really fast pace. You have to get back into basketball shape, of like game speed shape, of course, you could say, if that's even like a term. But yeah, I thought Quickly really struggled in this game. He didn't really play make, and when his shot's not going in, he kind of is a liability out there on the court. I know he does a solid job of playing the passing lanes at times, but he definitely has ways to go when it comes to really opening up his all-around basketball game and working on that. But he definitely didn't come to play, and Alec Burks really did not get off to the best of start. But actually later, like in the second quarter, he was absolutely cooking, which was amazing to see. I believe he had 12 or 14 points. He started to just realize, this is basketball. I've been playing basketball my whole life. I got buckets with the Sixers. I got buckets with the Warriors. I got buckets with the Jazz. All these teams, the Cleveland Cavaliers. He's played for a lot of NBA teams. It looks like he might have actually found a home with the Knicks. I really do hope we sign him in the offseason. But he definitely did a really good job just having us go on this run, of course, knocking down shots, communicating with the players out there, making the extra pass. But we know he's just a pure bucket getter. But the sad reality of this quarter as well, the Spurs went on a 10-0 run. Like, Eubanks was killing us inside. This dude was boxing out. He was killing us on the boards. Like, really, he actually had a good game off the bench. I actually thought he looked like a really solid basketball player out there. But we should just be so happy that Alec Burks really was cooking, like, when it came to the end of the second quarter, which actually gave us a 3-point lead entering halftime. None of these teams were really shooting the ball that well. The reason why it was great to see Alec Burks go off, well, of course, he just came back from an injury, so we need him to be great when it comes to playoff time or really closing out these games. But also, Randall, after having an amazing first quarter, he absolutely just shut off in the second quarter. His shots weren't going in. He was just absolutely rusty. So yes, does that sound good? Your number one option of Randall starting to really shut off a guy of RJ Barrett who is struggling. Your first two options aren't playing well to really close out the first half. That is definitely not a good sight. And entering the third quarter, it did not get pretty after being up 3 points. The Spurs, I'm not even lying, they couldn't miss. If it was Keldon Johnson, if it was DeJounte Murray, if it was Patty Mills, if it was DeRozan, if it was everyone out there on the court, Eubanks, you name it. Greg Popovich probably made a shot. They were 11 for 11 at one point in the third quarter. Not like there were a bunch of threes. Like, at halftime, the Knicks only shot 41% and the Spurs only shot 34%. But in the third quarter, it was all Spurs. I thought this game was over, but I didn't at the same time, because I just knew that this team was going to find a way to make this a ball game. As long as you have Tom Thibodeau as your coach, he preaches defense, he preaches excellence, he preaches just mental toughness of not giving up on a play and playing your ass off. At one point, we were down 16 points. We couldn't get anything to go. We weren't hitting shots. They were hitting every shot. We were fouling guys on the three-point line. Randall fouled DeRozan from downtown. It was an absolute nightmare, and it was just so scary to watch. But the most amazing thing was RJ Barrett in this third quarter. The thing we absolutely love about RJ Barrett, he is mentally tough and he does not care. He's going to try to take over a game no matter what. Before you know it, of course, being down 14 at this one point, Randall, transition, kicks it out to RJ. RJ Barrett knocks down a three. Before you know it, RJ Barrett knocks down another three. The Spurs start missing. RJ Barrett in transition and the foul. He executed on a three-point play. RJ Barrett absolutely took over in the third quarter. It actually looked like he was having an efficient game, but if you took a look at his stats in the third quarter, you're probably like, damn, RJ's having a really good game. He's on pace to have 30 points this game, when that wasn't the true reality. This dude was playing really bad when it came to the first half, but after the and one, it was only a 4-point game after being down like 16 or 17 points. It was just absolutely crazy. And the Spurs were actually starting to miss, and you couldn't believe it when the Spurs started missing because they were literally making every shot out there. every shot, but eventually they started to miss. Taj Gibson was boxing out. He did a really good job on the boards. Noel actually did a really good job making his presence felt down low as well. And I thought it was a really smart move by Tom Thibodeau, not playing quickly like pretty much in the second half, because he did not have it. He was absolutely rusty. Now the fourth quarter comes around. Just to start off the fourth quarter, RJ Barrett from downtown. This dude was El Fuego. He was absolutely amazing. The only nitpick I could say about the Knicks is when RJ Barrett was on fire, we didn't feed him the basketball. I thought Randall started to be like, okay, now it's my time to shine. Don't get me wrong, he has great chemistry with RJ. We know they're great friends off the court. They communicate really well. But Randall's going to try to steal the game like himself as well. He really thinks of himself as the number one option, which he is. He's going to try to hit these really big shots. But when someone's on fire, you feed him the basketball. When he can't be touched, when he's flamethrowing from downtown, when he's getting and ones, you give him the damn basketball. And I thought we didn't do that enough, even though we did come out with the W. The Knicks were on a 21-2 run, which sounds crazy because the Spurs were 11 for 11 in that third quarter at one point. They couldn't miss a single shot. So to say that we went on a 21-2 run is absolutely insane. The Spurs weren't getting any timely buckets after DeRozan was really getting going. Even though he really started to cook at the end of this game, he was putting the Spurs absolutely on his back. Spurs were missing shots, and RJ Barrett another three. Alec Burks getting buckets. Literally everyone is producing out there on the basketball court except Payton, because do we even have to talk about Payton? Another disgusting performance when he was out there on the court. No defense, just forcing it at centers. I don't even know what to say. He was trash, but the Knicks came out the W. But I actually thought Greg Popovich made an awful decision at the end of this game. The Knicks did come back, but what happens in a comeback when you're down so many points? Your starters are out there for a very long time while leading this big comeback, so they're out there a majority of the time, like I said, so they are absolutely gassed. And I thought Greg Popovich made a terrible decision here. Yes, the Spurs, they were starting to be behind in this basketball game, but he called a timeout, and the Knicks got rest. So right out of the timeout, Randall drills a three. He's starting to feel good again, just like he was in the first quarter. And the Knicks look like an amazing basketball team, making the extra pass. But before you know it, the Spurs and one difficult shot, DeRozan getting to the rack, knocking down those impossible shots from mid-range territory. He is a professional scorer, ladies and gentlemen. But Julius Randle was big time. After struggling, of course, when it came to the first quarter, he was playing good ball. But after the first quarter, he really started to cool off. But he actually hit a big-time three to give us a 4-point lead with only 50 seconds left. But this really pissed me off. It looked like we're going to seal the deal. It looked like the game was completely over. DeRozan drives. It's out of bounds. But the ref waited for the ball to be out of bounds. Frank didn't even touch him. DeRozan pushed off on Frank, and they said it was a foul on Frank Ntilikina. So then the Spurs had an extra possession, and they had an and one. And the Spurs cut it to a 1-point game after the free throw, I believe. So then they had to foul Alec Burks with 10 seconds left. It looked like he sealed the deal. It was a 3-point game. They actually had no more timeouts left, so the Knicks actually made a smart decision, in my opinion. You could have your own opinion here. But we fouled them because we didn't want them taking that 3-point shot. We didn't want them to tie this basketball game whatsoever, so we decided to foul them because then they won't be able to win the game. He makes the first one. He intentionally tries to miss the second one, of course, trying to get that final possession to win the game. But then they end up fouling RJ, and RJ Barrett knocks down both free throws, and the Knicks come out victorious. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, guys, have a humble day or night. Peace out, yo.